Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. Do I have a co-host now? I feel like I have a co-host. This pigman just wandered up while I was doing my intro. I'm like, no, go back, get away. I'm the only host of this show. Anyway, sorry about that, bit of a weird spontaneous intro thing there. Today we're going to be looking at the stuff that I was hinting at the end of the last episode about pointed dripstone, because we can use this stuff to farm lava as well as water. As you can see, these two cauldrons have started filling up. Just going to break those with particles everywhere for some reason when you break cauldrons, I think because they can contain liquids. Anyway, we're going to grab a bunch more of these, and yes, I've still been working on a little bit of base decoration around here, and we're probably going to turn one of the biggest dripstone features in this entire cave into our lava farm, because we have a massive pillar of dripstone over here, and I thought it could look super cool if we end up turning the base of this, like all around here, and maybe even have one over on that side as well, since that pillar is of pretty equivalent diameter. We could have a bunch of cauldrons collecting lava from around the base of these things, as though there's lava just kind of stored up in there and it's dripping down into the cauldrons. I think that'll look amazing. So I think that's what we're going to do today. This is going to require a lot of iron. So once again, we're going to have to return to my base, grab a bunch of iron from the iron farm or my stockpile in my storage system, and let's get crafting. I think one of the other episodes we're going to do this week will be about Nether transport, because I'm honestly getting a little tired of running the long way, or what feels like the long way, to our base all the way back at spawn. I feel like that can be done a little bit faster and with a little bit less interference from hoglins, so maybe this week we'll work on the Nether hub some. But in the meantime, let's see what we've got going on over at the iron farm, and yep, this thing is entirely full again. I think I'm probably going to have to divert some of the poppies into a composter for bone meal or something at this rate, because it's getting a little bit hard to handle here. At the very least, we need to expand the storage system to at least double the amount of chests that are in here, and I think all of the hoppers back there are going to be filled up as well, so yeah, we're going to have to figure that out sooner or later. Anyway, at least we get to come away from that with an absurd amount of iron, which we can turn back into iron ingots to make ourselves, I think 64 cauldrons seems a little excessive, but we might as well have that many. We can use them for decoration and various other bits and pieces around here too. Either way, that means we're going to need a bunch of pointed dripstone, and let's see what we can do about slicing out some of the bottom half of these giant pillars. These things are even bigger when you get up close to them, and they're also absolutely covered with mobs, especially now we've started to light up more of the caves, so this could be a harder task than I expected, but we'll scaffold up here and there, we'll throw a couple of torches up in these places, and hopefully we'll be able to eliminate a lot of those dark spots before the mobs get too hard to handle. Well, a creeper ended up chewing a chunk out of the side of that, and there's a few places up there that are still pretty dark, but at least we have made a start. And I think at the base of the pillar here, around the outside, the circumference of this, we're going to need to make sure that we can at least dig in a block or two, because not only are we going to need some pointed dripstone facing down, we're also going to need a lava source above the dripstone block, which means we're going to have to make sure that lava isn't flowing down over the outside, so we'll need to block it off somehow, probably like this. To preserve the shape of this pillar, at least at the bottom of it, that means we're going to be digging in a couple of blocks inside so that we can have our lava sources up there, and the dripstone is just going to be dripping down into cauldrons below. So pointed dripstone there, lava source above that, behind these two blocks surrounded in there by the rest of the pillar, lava dripping down into the cauldron, dripstone block there. That's more or less the setup we need to have, and we're probably going to have that around the outside in a kind of circle. I might add a couple of other bits and pieces, maybe some like wooden support pillars or something like that to the outside, just to make this thing look like it's a bit better supported, because while we're not reducing it to an apple core, we are at least taking out some of the outside structure of this thing. And normally if you wanted to make something circular like this, you'd probably have to go to a website to kind of plot out the dimensions of the circle, but in this case, we can just use the circumference of the dripstone pillar itself, and it'll still end up looking pretty good. Now we've got a few cauldrons set up and ready for the lava to start dripping down. Where are we going to get all of these lava sources from in the first place? Well, I think the pretty obvious answer to that lies back through our geode portal. So we're going to craft a handful of buckets, we're going to empty our inventory of everything else we're currently carrying, and we're going to head back through to the Nether. The Nether has a huge amount of lava, most of it in a fairly accessible place down here at Y level 32, where the quote-unquote sea level of the Nether is. And it's here here that we can gather a bunch of lava sources in buckets, and this will basically be the catalyst to start our own overworld lava farm. With, of course, the caveat that you can only carry so much with you. You can fill shulker boxes of lava if you want to, but each one of those is only going to carry 27 buckets, so you really don't need to bring that many with you unless you're loading up shulker after shulker. And with this amount of lava available to us in the Nether, it kind of begs the question, why farm lava in the overworld at all? Well, there are a couple of reasons actually, and they're all pretty good reasons. Number one, probably the simplest out of all of them, the Nether is dangerous, the overworld is safe. And that's, for given values of dangerous and given values of safe, you might feel quite comfortable in the Nether right now, but if you don't, there is every chance that setting up a lava farm in the overworld will be slightly kinder to you. By the way, now we've put those two lava sources in place, you will see that the dripstone is now dripping lava into these cauldrons, and eventually, randomly, it will fill up the entire cauldron with lava, which usually takes about 20 minutes or roughly one Minecraft day on average, but it kind of varies. It's a little bit random. So yes, the relative danger and relative safety of the Nether and the overworld are really one of the main factors here. If you don't like it in the Nether, it's possible to get a renewable source of lava elsewhere. I think I'm also going to grab some iron trapdoors to go over the tops of those lava sources, so we don't have to worry about falling into them, but we do end up with a decent amount of lighting around here, since iron trapdoors will not burn, and they also won't block the light from getting through. And because each iron trapdoor takes up 4 iron ingots in a 2x2 in a crafting interface, and that means that we can use up a bunch more of the ludicrous amount of iron we ended up bringing with us. With iron trapdoors on top of this thing, we can step on top of the lava sources quite comfortably, although it does seem like a little bit more dangerous looking than it actually is. Oh, and if you dig into the interior of these massive pillars of dripstone, there's actually a bunch of pointed dripstone inside of here, which I might gather, because once again, it's kind of nice to be able to farm some of this stuff. I assume that's just the game generating these pillars from the floor upwards in the same way that it does elsewhere in the cave, but that's kind of fascinating. I never knew that. Anyway, the next argument to be made in favor of the cauldron lava farm is one of renewability. As you can see from over here, we have a bucket of lava fresh from that cauldron ready to be collected, and while it removes a bit of light from the area, it does mean we get a full bucket of lava that we can use to propagate more of the farm, making this whole thing kind of self-sustaining from this point onwards. And while the lava lakes in the Nether seem to stretch on forever and seem pretty abundant, I think renewability is better than abundance in this case. In fact, in pretty much all cases, I would argue that renewability is probably more valuable to the player than an abundance of something, because with a huge amount of stuff available to us in the Nether, we still have to go further and further out to retrieve it each time. Not only that, but retrieving lava from lava lakes gets progressively more unsafe, because you're having to wade out further and further in order to get hold of some, or dive down into deeper sections of the lava lake. You'll need to use fire resistance potions for stuff like that, and honestly, it just gets a little bit tedious to do that every time. Mechanics like this also make it possible for us to farm lava in, for example, a skyblock world, someplace where you don't have access to the renewable lava of the Nether because the entire world is a void. And at this point, I think I'd say that the only thing the lava lakes of the Nether have over this method in terms of, like, advantage is just the speed. How quickly you can just pop through to the Nether, gather up a bunch of lava, and then head off again. If you find yourself desperately in need of lava, then setting up a long-term lava farm like this is not necessarily going to be the fastest solution. But there is a way that even a lava farm like this can end up outperforming the Nether, and it's really a matter of just scaling up the output of a farm like this and giving yourself the opportunity to automate what you're doing. I've taken a quick trip down here to the lower levels of the Dripstone caves, which do continue, it turns out. There's even an abandoned mineshaft down here, which I would love to explore a little bit more of at some stage. But what I'm really after is to grab a bit of redstone, because I didn't bring any of that over from the base either. I still can't help myself, and I'm probably going to silk touch a couple of diamond ore on the way back. There's at least one more over here as well, and it looks like it is just that one. And the reason I'm getting redstone will become clear when I craft a couple of bows and make a dispenser or two, because I want to prove to you definitively, right here and right now, that it is not possible to extract lava from a cauldron using a dispenser with a bucket in it. In fact, you're going to destroy the bucket by doing that, because what it does is dispense it into the block with the cauldron, which brings it into contact with the lava. And lava inside of cauldrons will still destroy items. Like, that stick is gone for good. Despite the fact that a bucket of lava placed in a dispenser can be dispensed and retracted again into that bucket, that's only the case if it is the full lava source block in front of you, and unfortunately is not the case with cauldrons. Which means that a lava farm like this can never be fully automatic. It can never be extracted from all of those cauldrons cauldrons without a player being present. But there are still ways players can automate this process, and there are a couple of different approaches. First of all, cauldrons can be pushed by pistons, and so for example, if you were to set up a production line effectively of cauldrons filling up with lava being pushed towards the player simply standing still and holding a bucket in their hands, an empty bucket, and just holding down right click, maybe without the shield, but you could effectively go down the line harvesting a bunch of buckets, and once your inventory was full up with lava buckets, it would be thrown onto the floor. If you're throwing them onto the floor in front of you, then just make the floor in front of you a hopper, and that would mean that all of the lava buckets could end up getting collected in some sort of chest. Another alternative would be to have the player moved around using water streams, and this usually works better if you don't have depth strider on your boots, but water streams can push the player around at a pretty consistent rate, and as long as you're able to go around a water stream, or even, for example, a minecart track could do something similar, you could be pushed around, once again holding buckets in your right hand and right-clicking on the cauldrons as you went past to extract every bucket of lava around a circuit. That circuit would probably not be a circular one like this. I'm doing this much more for the aesthetics of the thing and going up and harvesting this manually than I am for the sake of, automating this process. But if you wanted to set up basically a track to push yourself around on, it would be very simple to have row upon row of cauldrons collecting lava, and any buckets that exceeded the capacity of your inventory could just get thrown into the water stream. Maybe the water stream goes over a hopper which collects them, and once again you're able to store all of these lava buckets in a storage chest. That storage chest could even be the fuel input chest of an automatic furnace, and now you can see the potential start to stack up, because you could fuel an auto smelter perpetually using a farm that can continuously harvest lava. At that point, the only limiting factor might be the input mechanism, and you can probably see where this is going. We could find ways of automating the input as well. Say you want a bunch of smooth stone, hook it up to a cobblestone generator, use TNT to blow up the stone, automatically collected lava smelts the entire thing down into stone, the stone gets stored in a chest, and suddenly you've got an entire castle's worth of stone you can use. This is, of course, an entirely optional process, but automating stuff like this in Minecraft is some people's bread and butter, and even if you're not that into redstone, it can certainly help you further down the line, because what's a builder without convenient access to blocks? And we can make exactly the same arguments about renewable stone as we have made here about renewable lava. It's all about convenience, and even though the entire world is made out of stone, once again, the convenience of having something be renewable is often better than having an abundance of it. And frankly, I think the other arguments in favor of approaches like this are because we can and because it looks cool, both of which are equally good excuses. Also, one more quick thing to note before I grab another bucket of lava to close off this section of the farm. You'll notice that the lava spike on the right hand side is dripping a lot more frequently than the one on the left here, and that's because we don't have a lava source above that second cauldron, we just have flowing lava. Once again, much like the dripstone farm that we made in the last episode, it's going to have to be a lava source above this in order to make any more lava in the cauldron below. But just like the dripstone, that lava source above there is never going to deplete. It's not like we're filtering down one lava source into the space of another. We are producing more lava from just one lava source above this. So once that lava source goes in, we place the trapdoor over the top of it, and now both of these are dripping lava an equivalent amount. Something that wasn't immediately obvious to me, which is now more obvious now I look at it from this side, is that this isn't one pillar, it's two pillars. They're actually side by side over here, and I'm thinking I'll probably just convert this pillar here into the lava farm and do maybe something different with these ones, because it's not quite as impressive having two pillars as it is having this one giant one. I was trying to figure out how I want to distribute the rest of the cauldrons, and I think I'll just go all the way around this one and have this ring of cauldrons meet up on the other side. And with these last few patches all connected up, we are up and running. This entire pillar is now a lava farm, and it's just the outside as well. We could do something with the inside if we wanted to. Obviously, we'd need a way in from this outer ring of lava cauldrons, or we could even stack these on top of each other so that lava dripped down into another row of cauldrons embedded in the next section as well, and we just need to set up a walkway that we could come around and collect it all. But I still have 4 buckets of lava left, and this whole farm is now probably producing lava faster than I went and got it from the Nether. We only have 6 cauldrons left, so I would estimate there's about 60 cauldrons total in a circle around the outside of this thing, and we're able to grab a bunch of lava from it as we travel around here. By the time we've done one circuit, chances are a couple of the other lava sources have filled back in. At the very least, we could wait for about 20 minutes, and we would have most of these able to pull some lava out. We've already got another 4 buckets to put in our chest. We could store these all up and throw them into a smelter smelter if we wanted to. Now here are a couple of other facts about cauldrons with lava in. First of all, you can absolutely get into a cauldron and set yourself on fire, so probably best to have a water source around you if you do that. Secondly, pouring water over the top of a cauldron with lava in it does absolutely nothing. Doesn't produce cobblestone, doesn't produce obsidian, the lava source stays intact, and the water does as well. Although if you right-click the cauldron with a bucket of water, it's just going to replace the lava inside with water. And I believe the same is true the other way around as well. If you right-click the water cauldron with lava, it's just going to replace the water with lava. So lava can not only be created this way, it can also be destroyed. And remember to shift-click around the outside if you want to do any weird shenanigans with a lava source and a cauldron of water underneath it. Although it should be pointed out that you will still take damage if you're standing in a cauldron of lava, even with water on top of it, because lava damage isn't necessarily just fire damage. Lava damage is its own separate thing as well. It's also absolutely useless to place a bucket of lava in a cauldron that's already got lava in it. You won't get 2 lava sources back out of that or anything, so keep that in mind. If you're automating a farm like this, make sure that your inventory is filled up with empty buckets continuously. Otherwise, you will just end up with a bucket of lava in your hand that's going to be just placed and retrieved continuously from all of the cauldrons around your chain. And now I have harnessed the power of lava, it seems like the Thunder Gods are not too happy with me, so I think we'd better wrap up this episode here. Thank you folks so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care, bye for now.